for me. So everybody, just follow me, 'cause we need a little controversy, 'cause it feels so empty without me.
Good morning, everybody. I hope this video finds you well. In this video here, I want to talk a little bit about what it takes to leave your country. I had an interesting discussion with a friend, and she said that she thought that it would be very, very hard for an American to leave the United States. She herself is an American expat, and she has left the United States and is living in another foreign country in Europe. And she's right. Most Americans have no means to leave the country. It costs money. It's an unknown. You don't even know where to get a hotel. You know nothing. So there's a degree of adventuresome. And then once you are there, what are you going to do? What's your plan? The best and easiest way for you to leave the United States is to go somewhere where you have friends or family in another country. You go there. You stay with your friends. You stay with your family. And you try to learn and make connections there on your own. And then eventually you'll figure out the way things work. You get a job. You get a relationship. You get a girlfriend or a boyfriend. That's the easiest way if you're unattached. The next easiest way if you're unattached is once you do this and you find somebody that you fall in love with, you marry them and you stay there. That's the next easiest way. In my case, I was moving factories from the United States to China. I also moved them to Brazil and Russia and Australia. But a lot of the stuff was in China, and the more I did it, the more people I met, the more I loved the culture, and eventually I fell in love with a girl and got married and decided to stick around. That's called life. It was unintentional. So if anybody comes on over and says, well, you leave freedom and democracy for ideological reasons, no, you don't. You don't even think about freedom and democracy if you leave. There's other reasons, like eating, love. Okay? Anybody saying, well, there's other reasons why a person would leave the United States is bullshitting you. It's about emotion and physical needs. It's about practical, pragmatic reasons, and that's it. Nothing more than that. One of the things that I really want to do is create an environment for people to learn from in a positive way, and that people can get something in a positive way without feeling bad. And the problem is I'm just too damn emotional. I swear, I cuss, I show a lot of emotion. That's usually triggered. If you've got a mental illness, you're easily triggered. I know. That's why when you're in a mental hospital, you have to be very even-toned and don't show any emotion when you're speaking to people. If you walk into a dysfunctional house and everybody's like, oh, don't show any emotion, it means that house is totally dysfunctional. If you can't be yourself, you can't show passion, then you've got some kind of mental and emotional aberrations, mental illnesses. But the problem with me is that I cannot communicate everything without showing emotion, without showing my passions, and that can be a problem. What I want to do here is I want to explain that the United States is in collapse. There's going to be pockets that are going to be free of collapse, and there's going to be pockets that are going to be hell on earth. And you want to be, you and your family and loved ones, you want to be in a good area. This is basic prepper 101, okay? I believe in the lifeboat approach. You leave the United States, go to another place that's safe, Then when everything settles down, you can go back to the United States and pick up the pieces. When the bullets are flying, when the guy's got the punching and the knives and stuff, you're out of the picture. Then you go back. So think of it as a temporary refugee situation. If you don't want to leave your freedom and democracy and guns and stuff, it's okay. You just think of a temporary egress and then return back later on. But how do you do that? You've lived your entire life in your county. You lived everything. You've got a wife. You've got kids. You've got dogs. You've got cats. You can't let all this stuff. In which case, I would advise you can't. It's too late. The best thing you can do is pack up and go someplace that you're able to go. If you're in the United States, I would suggest maybe Canada. Okay? Another option is South America. In these thoughts, you drive to that environment. If you go to South America, make sure that you can speak some Spanish or Portuguese. If you go to Canada, make sure you can speak some French. If you're planning on leaving and you don't know those two things, I don't know what to tell you. You move to another country, you have to provide something to the other country. It's not like the United States where anybody can come. In lieu of that, you get yourself a sailboat and you sail the world, which can be a very hard life. Forget about the romance of sailing. That's a lot of work. I know a little bit about that. Though I love sailboats. I love sailboats and I love sailing. Months on a choppy sea is not something you really want to do. So be very smart and careful how you handle everything, okay? If you are young and unattached, or maybe you have an attachment, but they're of the same mind with you, then you can look at traveling to other places and teaching. English is a second language. That's easy enough for you to do. Get your certificate. You have to, most places except third world requires a college degree, then you get your certificate. If you don't have a college degree, then learn ESL and then go to a third world country in South America or in Africa and set up shop, go teaching there. In most cases, you will be making middle class income. In most cases, you'll be making middle class income. Don't compare US dollars to pesos or whatever is the currency of the society you're in. In general, you will be making what is equivalent to middle class, middle manager income. That's good money. You'll have money to save, you'll be eating well, and you will have purpose. That's a good starter. From there, and from then, you can look for other alternatives, other things you can do. And that's always a good thing, right? In all cases, if you've decided that you're going to leave the United States, then you better finalize that decision right quick and start taking the courses, whether it's language, making the preparations, whether it's gear or moving, and doing your reconnaissance of locations now. This is what you need to be doing right now. You don't need to be putting this off, okay? That's the way it works, okay? Capisce? So I hope this information is helpful to you, that you learn from it, and it gives you a direction and place to go to. Now, of course, I moved to China, and that was because a lot of reasons. Your reasons will be different from mine. But whatever your reasons, or whatever the situation puts in place in front of you, remember, the key to doing this is affirmation campaigns. Run them, plan for them, work them, then make your jump. Affirmation campaigns, a prepared plan, make the jump. Right now you can do it. In the future, you may not be able to, so keep that in mind. Okay? The way the United States is going right now, it's kind of crazy train right now. I would take due diligence and make whatever necessary moves you can to protect you and your loved ones. There's people who have taken all their belongings, put them in a shipping container, and shipped it over to their destination. I know people have done that. In all cases, they have regretted it. The reason why they regretted it is generally the lifestyle that you will adopt will be so different that the old will just not fit. You'll have a lot of clutter. I've read about people who were successful, upper middle class. They just took their entire home and relocated it. You go into their home in Belize and it looks like it's something out of New Jersey. They're not assimilating. Your idea is you want to go to a place where you can assimilate, right? Eat local food, all right? Live in local housing and everything. That means all your electrical appliances will probably not work or not work well or will burn out. You have to have the right electrical systems, and getting an adapter is a temporary workaround. It doesn't always work, especially for large energy units like air conditioners, refrigerators, and certainly stoves. As far as furniture, what is appropriate and very, very nice in New England just seems out of place and just doesn't fit in, say, Honduras, okay, or Argentina, okay. Clothing as well. Do you really need all your clothes? Just only take a few things. You can get clothes when you're down there. And you'll be more... Here, look, my t-shirt. This is a Chinese t-shirt. Can you tell? You'll adapt. Let yourself adapt. You'll adapt to food. It'll take you a while. I'm still drinking coffee in the morning. That's what this thing is here. This is coffee. It's instant coffee. Tastes like shit, but it's instant coffee because I still do it. I just can't. Now, I do like a good dojang in the morning, and youtiao, I do like that, but I still have to have my morning cup of coffee. It's just the way it works. There will be things, these little treasures that you're going to want to keep, but not all your stuff. So don't even think about keeping all your stuff. If you have one cat, two cats, maybe a cat and a couple of dogs, a lot of countries are very animal friendly. China is super animal friendly. Okay? You can take them with you. Okay? But make sure you know the process and procedure, because they're going to have to go through quarantine. All nations will require your animals to go through quarantine. Okay? If you can't take them with you, like you living on a farm and you've got 16 cats or something, make arrangements for them as you go. I know people, I have been talking with people that have done exactly that, and they're doing quite well. Take care of the little ones, okay? If you have young kids, if they're in elementary school, they'll thrive. They'll thrive. They'll thrive. Don't put them in a Western school. Teach them local language and then throw them into elementary school. They will be bilingual in no time at all. And they will be popular. And from them, you will make lots of friends. Where you go, you don't want to isolate yourself. You don't want to become the ugly American. It's a pejorative term that comes from a Marlon Brando movie from the 1960s. regarding Southeast Asia. He was the ugly American. He was a senator who was like, well, America, 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 America. And he comes on over there, and it was just incompatibility. And since that time, the term ugly American means, I know the way the world works. Let me tell you something. Americans know jack shit about the rest of the world. If you think you know, you don't know jack shit. You really haven't a clue. Americans got to be the most repressed people on the fucking planet. You're still paying with paper cash. You don't have naps at lunch. Everything has to be on time, even though your work is in the middle of traffic central. You have to do your taxes on top of your taxes and report everything you do financially to the government in April. What kind of madman thinks that? America's the only country that does that. And don't even get me started on dating. You've got rampant sexuality all over the United States, but sex is bad. That's America for you. It's fucking insanity. Now, I don't really want to talk too much about sex here, but some things need to be said. If you've never left the United States, then you have no idea. Absolutely none. Prostitution is legal in many other countries. In Germany, you've got government-owned bordellos. Nudism is a thing. You go over to Eastern Europe and you go into a sauna, you're expected to strip bare ass naked. Okay, that's the way things are. In America, there's so many taboos. In China, here, Southeast Asia, sex is like, oh, hey, I like you, let's have sex. It's like, it's no big deal. But you don't have rampant sexuality with asses being waved and all kinds of stuff. I want to fuck you and all kinds of nonsense like you have in the United States. It's more, I don't know, calm and relaxed, natural kind of. It's like clean water as opposed to soda pop. And it doesn't matter if it's Asia or South America or whatever. There's different ways, different social norms. And it's a big shock to people. I talk about business KTVs. It's just because there's respect given to people who have accomplished things. In China, there's respect given to you if you've accomplished things. And that differs a lot from, okay, he's a foo or die. Your father accomplished something, so you're driving a Mercedes. He's a foo or die. It's a different kind of thing. I'm talking about the father. So you get rewards based upon accomplishments. It doesn't matter if you designed the rocket that's taking Chinese people to the moon, or if you have set up a business in your small town, you have accomplished something, so you're given respect. That is different than having a pile of documents. Now, of course, China also has piles of documents, but those are used to track your progress. America, you pop it on the wall, see, look what I did. No, honor me. It's like, I'm getting off on a sidetrack here. It's not. Okay, what I'm trying to say is it's different. Everything's different. In America, you'll have a bowl of Cheerios, which is a sugar-laden puffed wheat cereal with milk and a cup of coffee, typically. In China, you'll have a bowl of rice porridge with fish and some warm bean drink. It's not everybody has it, but it's typical enough that if I say, when was the last time you had your bowl of cereal, most Americans can give you a date. If I had talked to a Chinese, when was the last time you had Joe? They can probably tell you, well, it was this week or last week. It's typical enough. Likewise, same thing with relationships with friends, people. Same thing with work. Same thing with everything. So when you leave, you will be moving to a new society, and it will be different. If you like your chocolate frosty donut and your large Dunkin' Donuts coffee, you will have a little bit of difficulty switching to fish in the morning. Fish and snails. But you will switch. The amount of time will differ from person to person, but you will switch. And over time, you will look, and you will see the good and bad. You know how I can tell if somebody is lying to me? When they say, well, I've been to China and I disagree because blah, 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 blah. You know how I can tell? The longer you're in China, the more you see that there's pluses and minuses about the United States. Anybody who goes negative, 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 without talking about anything positive, is a troll. Anybody who says, well, negative, 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 and then they give you a little tiny of a positive, is also a troll. Anybody who says, I lived in China for 10 years, and I taught at the university, and never got laid, is a fucking liar. You can't live in China as a single man without having a girlfriend or getting a wife. I think it's an absolute impossibility unless you're some kind of ogre. That's like saying, well, I lived in America for 10 years, but I never rode in a car. Yeah, tell me about it. It's that ridiculous. So what you want to do is make your plan. China's a pretty cool place, but I don't recommend it for everybody. What I do recommend, and I highly regard it, is realize that if you don't want to stay in the United States, you need right now, find a place where you want to go. Make the necessary actions to make that happen, and realize that it will be a different culture. There'll be things you'll like, and there'll be things that you don't like. And that's just the way life is. If you're like, well, I don't like what you're saying, and I don't like that, and I don't like that, and I don't like that, I like that, fine. You go back, shoe back under your rock, okay? I'm talking about real world here, real life here, okay? The real deal, how things really work. Different is good, same is bad. Different is good, same is bad. Okay, am I clear on that? Okay, people, you take care. And in every way, I just wish for you to thrive. Do your best in thriving. And sorry about my aggressive, cantankerous nature. It's who I am, and I'm stuck with it. You all are who you are, and I love you just as you are because, you know, I believe in you. Yes, I do.
深水，用针浅浅手脚落有智慧，可怜落花口语间。